What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to talk about the new gameplay that was just released last week for Cyberpunk 2077. For those who missed it, they held an event called Night City Wire, essentially just their own little version of something like E3 or EA Play, but completely focused on Cyberpunk rather than a heap of different games. Now, in this event we got a new trailer for the game, some dev interviews and stuff like that, but we also got a fair chunk of gameplay as well. Roughly 15 minutes of raw gameplay showing us a few snippets of the game and giving us a fairly decent idea of how this world is going to look. So today I'm pretty much just going to give you guys my first impressions on this new gameplay, cover some of the parts that stood out to me, and yeah, pretty much just go through and dissect some of the new footage. So the first part of the gameplay I found to be pretty interesting. It actually pretty much shows these two guys training, but they turn out to actually be twins, yet they're actually only one person, as weird and confusing as that might sound. For those of you who maybe don't know much about the Cyberpunk setting, this game is set in a world where people have started to essentially customize their bodies, upgrading themselves and adding weapons to their limbs and all kinds of stuff like that, but there already seems to be a lot more depth than just upgrading yourself. These guys, or should I say this guy since it's technically one person, pretty much explained it saying that they used to be identical twins, but they wanted to essentially bond together and become a single person, and so now it is actually just one single mind that controls two different bodies. This pretty much shows right off the bat how absolutely wild this game is going to be. The first interaction is literally just some mind-boggling technology and absolutely wild storytelling, and I can tell it's only going to get weirder and weirder as the game goes on, which is honestly a good thing because that seems to be the point of this game, in that it's just some crazy fantasy world that pretty much makes no sense at all. Now, right after this sequence, there is a bit of a punch on between V and these two, and I will say that I feel like the melee mechanics look kinda clunky if I'm honest. Obviously, this game is a shooter and not a boxing game, so I don't expect it to look perfect at all, but it kinda looks a lot like Fallout New Vegas, which is like 10 to 15 years old. Although, keep in mind that this is still a work in progress too, so I don't imagine it will look exactly like this once the game is actually released. The gameplay then moves on to some footage of a fly-through of the city, and it looks absolutely amazing. The setting for this game just looks so futuristic and has so much potential for where it could go. And for me personally, that's pretty much the biggest thing drawing me to the game, the potential and the awesome futuristic setting. On one hand, it gives me sort of Tokyo vibes with all the neon lights and stuff like that, but it also kind of reminds me of Coruscant from Star Wars, since it's obviously a little bit more futuristic, and it also seems like a pretty bad place to be. With dark little alleyways and thugs all over the place, it just reminds me a lot of Coruscant in that regard. So we then see V go down into a strip club, and again we get a good idea of what this city is like. The strip club honestly looks no different than the rest of the city in terms of all the neon lights and stuff. It just looks like it fits into the universe so well, and the other thing that I noticed was the lens flare as you're looking at all the different lighting. It does give a great idea of the artistic direction of this game already. Now, the last scene I wanted to look at was the one with some actual gunplay in it, and it starts off with V trying to sort of infiltrate some sort of enemy base with all of these shipping containers, and it's also during the day too, so the city looks a lot different without all of those neon lights, which I thought was actually pretty cool, since that might mean there's going to be a big difference between night and day, almost making it feel like you're in two different places, which I think will help a lot for stopping the game from getting stale. Now, something really interesting that V does here is she targets an enemy who's guarding this little base, and she pulls up this little sort of quick hack menu, at which point she chooses to overheat the enemy, making all of his cyberware, which I assume is just his body customization, pretty much catch on fire and completely distract him from the fact that she's there. And I thought that was a really interesting mechanic, along with the rest of the options that we could see on that screen as well. We then get our first look at some gunplay, or at least in this gameplay anyway, and just like the fight earlier, if I'm going to be completely honest, I feel like this looks about 10 years old right now. Again, it isn't completely finished, so I'm not going to judge it too harshly, but it really just looks pretty clunky to me personally, and if it is a first-person game, then in my opinion you really need to nail that first-person shooter aspect of it. It could just be to do with the sensitivity of the person playing the game, as they turn around really slowly, or maybe they're just not all that great at shooters or something. I have no idea, but to me it just doesn't look all that great, honestly. Now, with that being said, I've watched a lot of games where the gameplay looks kind of terrible, but then when I actually play those games, it turns out to be nowhere near as bad as it seems. Perfect example being Jedi Fallen Order, where a lot of people complained that the saber mechanics didn't really look great at first, but upon playing it, I think most people tend to agree that it was actually very solid. So that could end up being the case with this game too, I have no idea at all. Since it is just some short gameplay, and since the game is clearly not finished yet, I'm not going to judge it too harshly at all. I'll wait to actually play it before I judge it too much more than what I already have, but at least in terms of my first impressions, that is just my honest thoughts on how it looks. Now the thing is, this is made by CD Projekt Red, who are one of those development companies that you pretty much know you can trust. They nailed The Witcher 3 and they've been working on this game for, I'm pretty sure, over 8 years now. So as much as it sounds like I was probably roasting them for the gameplay, I'm almost certain that this game is going to be pretty solid, and even if the gameplay isn't the greatest, I know the depth, the story and the overall mechanics of the game are going to be very, very solid nonetheless. It does seem like it's going to be the type of game where gameplay isn't really the focus, rather the storytelling and the setting are the main focus of the game. And personally, I am okay with that. Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of my favourite games of all time, and if I'm going to be honest, the actual gunplay in that game isn't very much improved from Red Dead Redemption 1. Which was 8 years older, so gameplay isn't everything. But if that is the case, then the story and the setting need to be almost perfect to carry the game in that situation. But anyway guys, that is going to do it for this one. If you do want to see the entire gameplay that I'm talking about, then I'll leave a link down in the description if I can remember. But there's actually a heap of different versions of it out there anyway, so you might even be able to find some different gameplay that I didn't cover in this video. Let me know your thoughts on the game down below. I know a lot of people are extremely excited for this game, and personally I'm pretty excited myself, so I'm very keen to gauge how many of you are feeling the same. If you did enjoy the video, then make sure to leave a like down below to help support the channel, and be sure to subscribe with those notifications on so you don't miss out on any more videos or live streams. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in the next one.